Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to our webinar, Virtualize Your IBM I Backups using TCP/IP. Do bare metal restores without tape. Save time by automating your backups. My name is Axe Signer, Vice President of Solutions here at Electronic Storage Corporation. We are located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We are a software developer. So here in our Tulsa office, we have our own programming department and also our own technical support and customer service department. We are an IBM registered business partner and a Microsoft certified partner. So today's webcast, we're going to talk about the importance of virtualizing your backup and recovery, connectivity options, and the benefits of using TCP/IP. Reduce the amount of time and effort it takes to manage your backups, incorporate the cloud as a storage tier, back up your IBM I via TCP/IP and Windows or own Windows Server, SAN, NAS, deduplication appliance, and we're going to go through a quick demo of the product. And we're also going to talk about doing bare metal restores without tape. So why virtualize? So demands on business to modernize, data access is faster, easier, flexible, secure, resulting in a changed business from the changed business environment over the last few years. So your data is going to be much more protected. You are able to achieve multiple copies of your data so that you have a complete backup solution that is completely protected compared to, say, physical tape. Modernizing or virtualizing previously manual business practices is necessary to ensure long-term viability, so you're not having to deal with the manual practice of dealing with tapes. Virtualization of backup and recovery makes it simple, it's fast for the IT department, for users, customers, reduces risks of data while at rest and in transit. So we're going to change the manual process from tape to an automated process of virtual backups, disk to disk backups. So we're going to save some serious time with this, reduce a lot of stress, and allow IT personnel to focus on other priorities. With the increase of cyber threats, we're looking for better data protection to ensure business continuity. So multiple copies of your data is going to be available for restores, compared to tape where you just have one single copy of your backup, which actually can make your data more at risk if the tape is lost or damaged, and the recovery of that data is viable to your business. So we're going to talk about TCP/IP. Now we also have solutions that connect through fiber channel or SAS, and that is a tape emulation solution, whether you want to back up using a tape library or a virtual tape library or a virtual tape device. But today we're going to talk about the TCP/IP connectivity and managing your backups through that from your iSeries. So you're going to be able to use your existing network, whether it's a 1 gig Ethernet connection or a 10 gig Ethernet connection from the iSeries to LaserVault. This makes the connection super easy to set up. It's a very low cost solution. Now this is great for businesses with smaller backup requirements. So depending on the amount of data that you need to save, a 1 gig Ethernet connection from LaserVault to the iSeries may not be fast enough. 10 gig is definitely an option, but again, depending on the amount of data that you're saving, you may want to go with a high-speed connection and tape emulation like fiber channel or SAS. Enables replication to the cloud. So with our customers, what they're looking to do is have a local copy of their backups for fast saves and fast restores, instant restores, because the data is always online available to select and restore back to the iSeries, but also replicating to the cloud so that you have 2 copies of the backup, or replicating to a DR site. So the other benefits is when speed is not an issue, because 1 gig connection, of course, is much slower than, say, a 6 gig or 6 gig SAS connection or 8 or 16 gig fiber channel connection. So again, using your own existing TCP/IP network makes it easy to plug and play this backup solution, and also completely automate your backup process with our backup commands. So you look at these commands, they're similar to the go save commands on the IBM I menu for saving to tape. So we have save lib lv, save object, restore lib lv. So all of these commands come with LaserVault as part of the software licensing for this product for you to automate your backups and to run restores of any of the files, objects, IFS, DLO, any of those types of files that you're saving to LaserVault backup on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. Connect through TCP/IP with standard Ethernet 1 gig or 10 gig. One of the features that LaserVault has is the ability to back up 10 libraries at the same time, because the software allows for multiple TCP/IP ports to be used for a backup job. So if your backup job says all user libraries for a daily backup, and you're using 10 TCP/IP ports from the iSeries configured on LaserVault, then we're going to be backing up 10 libraries at the same time. It's kind of similar to using a parallel save with multiple tape devices. So we're going to use backup commands to save directly to a PC server without using save files. So again, no disk space requirements for save files for the backup to run. We're gonna transfer that data immediately to LaserVault using our save commands. Backup all user libraries, configuration files, security data, IFS, DLO files. I'm going to show you those commands here shortly. Replicate copies to cloud or DR site. This is going to be an automated process and utilize whatever cloud provider that you'd like to set up for storing a second copy of those backups. Know that your data is secure and can be restored in case of any size disaster. So this is nice because when you have 2 copies of the backups, you can go get the second copy and do a restore. And then, of course, you have a local copy that anytime you need the data, as opposed to going to get and retrieving a tape from wherever it's stored. This is going to eliminate the need to transport those physical tapes back and forth from whatever site that they're being stored. The software also supports inline and post-process compression, averages about 4 to 1 compression. And then AES encryption is included also as an option to write the data encrypted as the backup is being run. Control retention periods automatically, purging expired backups. So you're able to set how long you want to store dailies, weekly, and monthly backups, yearly backups in LaserVault, and that the software will automatically remove those backups once they reach their expiration. So as you can see, you can completely handle all your retentions online and automatically with LaserVault backup and not have to deal with rotating out tapes. Okay, so this software can be installed on a Windows server, any Windows OS that you would like to use to host the LaserVault backup software, or virtual machine. So this easily installs in a VM environment, whatever flavor of Windows that you would like to use for LaserVault, you can have that installed, and then LaserVault can be set up on that system. Install IBM LaserVault library. So those are our commands for doing saves and restores. I'm going to show you that. We'll talk a little bit about deduplication, and we're going to cover replication and cloud storage. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the features of the product in a demo here. This is the LaserVault Backup Management Console. First thing I want to point out is that we have actually 3 catalogs. We have a catalog for partition 1. As you can see, there's a catalog path to a disk array on the machine that's running LaserVault Backup. Now instead, this could actually be a network share to a SAN or NAS storage. So you can use any storage available on your network to write and store the backups automatically with LaserVault, just by setting the catalog path on where you'd like to write those, store those backups. We have compression feature, encryption, your passphrase for your encryption. ways to set up the compression and encryption to run after the download, during the backup, or a scheduled task. So if you want to run the compression and encryption after the backup's completed at some point during the day, you can do that, or you can run it during the backup. Transfer process. So transfer process is going to be replication. So if we check the replication enable button, we're going to click configure replication. So two things are going to be replicated. Number one would be the SQL database, in which a list of everything that's saved is stored. So we have a list in the database of all the objects, libraries, all the IFS files stored in that database, because you're able to access the list from your iSeries and select something to restore back to a particular partition. So first thing is the ability to replicate that database, and that database can actually be rebuilt anytime that it might need to be rebuilt for whatever reason. Because if it can see the files of your backups, that database can be rebuilt. And then we're going to set the next option below that would be replication path, and we're going to define which catalog to replicate. We'll set up a replication catalog. The path for that catalog could be cloud storage, so Microsoft Azure storage, Amazon S3 storage, but this path is going to be, you want to make this path available to the LaserVault VM or Windows instance, so that it can replicate those files directly to that catalog path, which could be cloud storage, any object storage. And we can run the replication after the download is complete, or as a scheduled task. Over to the right, we have email notification options for getting automated emails of what has been saved. Now this does run in TCP/IP when TCP/IP is active on the iSeries. So the system will be active. Many of our customers will end queue enter so that users cannot log in to the system and run their backup. So you can run save while active, but you may get a few object locks, especially in IFS. Some of the log files and system files being used in IFS won't get backed up. We're going to talk a little bit about that shortly. But the these notifications will give you a list of everything that was saved via email. It also can save those log files on disk so that you can go back and audit your backups anytime that you need to. And below here, there's also a disk space notification email if you're running low on a certain amount of disk space that you specify there for megabytes. So this is set up for a catalog. Now, the way that my demo system is set up, I actually have another catalog for another partition. So if you're running multiple partitions, you can set up individual catalog paths for each partition. So you can see even the folder is different, but you can go and restore from one partition. You can go and restore data to a different partition, even though you're storing them in separate catalogs. So you can name the catalog after the name of the partition. And then we have an archive catalog, and this would basically means is that once the backups reach a certain age, they can be moved to an archive catalog, which could be disk storage in the cloud. It could be SAN or NAS storage. It could be storage at a DR site and archived to that location. So that just gives you the ability to move backups to a different path. Over to the right-hand side, we have the TCP/IP address for the machine that is running this LaserVault backup software, .77. And then we have, for partition 1, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ports that can be used to do a backup to this partition. So if we say save lib LV, all user libraries, it's going to use all 5 of those ports to stream data during the backup, which would mean it's backing up 5 libraries at the same time, because it's using all 5 ports to transmit data across the TCP/IP connection to LaserVault and to disk that you specify in the catalog path. The limitation on the number of ports that you can use at one time is 10. So at the most you can use 10 ports, and that would be sending 10 libraries at the same time. And this is again for backup speed, since we are typically saving the data across a 1 gig Ethernet connection from the iSeries to the LaserVault server. LaserVault, this does run as a service, so you can stop and start the service at any time. I'm going to go ahead and start it. So with the service running, what we're able to do is, I'm going to go to the iSeries side. These are the commands that are included with the LaserVault library to run your backups. I had a question just a second ago if you can use IBM Go Save commands with this, and you cannot use BRMS. If you're needing a BRMS solution, you could take a look at our Vital product, which emulates a tape library. So it is a VTL solution, works just like a physical tape library with BRMS. You can even use the Go Save commands with a virtual tape library, and we can also emulate a single or multiple tape devices that you can use with the Go Save commands. Because this product uses TCP/IP, it does use its own save and restore commands. Those are listed here for the save commands. And what this does is it basically uses an API that's built into the iSeries operating system to be able, and we wrote commands to use those APIs to transmit and back up the data directly to LaserVault without having to use save files. So save libraries, let's take a look at that first. So save libraries, you're able to choose all user, IBM, or non-sys. Non-sys is both all user and IBM. If you hit the plus value here, you can specify which libraries you want to save. So you can save a list of libraries. So this is save lib LVs. You can see it's pretty similar to save lib to tape. You have save while active here. The parameters that go with save while active, access paths, spool file data, objects to omit, libraries to omit, objects to omit, libraries to omit. And then the LaserVault server, this would be where you can put in your individual ports for your backup. So you can put up to 10 ports. I'm going to use the plus value here. So you can use ports 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to use 5 ports for this backup. Again, we're just looking to maximize the amount of data that's being transmitted across a 1 gig Ethernet connection from the iSeries to LaserVault. So that's where we go in and put in multiple connections. And that's actually configured with option 10, which I'll talk about in a second. Then you have save objects, changed objects. Again, let's look at 2. You have save while active on this. And you have changed objects here. So again, very similar to the save commands that are used to save to tape. DLO files, IFS, security, and configuration data. So we have some sample CO programs that can be changed and compiled to actually run your saves as a scheduled job. So then you're able to set exactly what you want, which save commands you're going to use, what those parameters are going to be in that CO program, and put that in your job scheduler to run at a certain time every day automatically. Option 10, work with backup configurations. This is where you're able to set the IP address for the machine that's running LaserVault backup, or the VM, as well as the ports that are going to be used. The default port starts at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then increments from there. You can also define how many days you want to store the backups when using a certain port. So 0 being permanent, these are 120 days, and this one is 30 days. So what you can do is you can create a set of servers, 5 or 10 or the number that you need, for your daily backups using .77 and 5 or 10 port numbers, and then specify how many days you want to store those daily backups, and you're going to use those as your dailies. So you could create another set of servers for weekly backups and change the expiration date on those, and you'll use those servers instead of the daily ones for the weekly. And that just gives you the ability to set different expiration or retention times on the different rotations, the dailies, the weeklies, and the monthlies. Now what we do is we do remote installation and configuration and training, so we can help you get this all set up. So we can, visit with you and analyze your backup situations and your rotations of your backups and help you set these up so that you're going to use the correct ports automatically for each automated backup process to set the expiration for those backups. So really you're looking at, if you're a small footprint in terms of the amount of data, I'd say at least under 1 terabyte of data. Anything over that, and you would want to look at a higher speed connection like fiber channel or SAS. And if you're using BRMS, you'd want to look at our VTL tape library, virtual tape library solution, which is fiber channel or SAS. Now, what's really cool about this product is number 11 and 12. So let's look at 11. Let's see here. I want to use 6. So this is where you can take a look at everything that's been saved on LaserVault. So I'm going into .77 into that catalog. And in this catalog, what I have is I just basically this is giving me a list of everything that was saved on LaserVault, because the catalog is stored in an SQL database on LaserVault, and I'm just now retrieving that data on the iSeries. The reason why you're using this feature is if you want to restore something. So those of you that run BRMS kind of familiar with this capability, because BRMS does something similar where it stores a database of everything that's saved, and you select what you want to restore and it loads the tape. So this is a bit similar, where we have all of our libraries and how they were saved. And then up at the top, we have a view. So we can view that library and see all the objects. Let's see if I've got one in here that's got more libraries in it. And you could take a 10 to restore any of these libraries. So I can page down, and you can even show which library. You can even do a query on a particular library that you'd like to restore. There's your IFS. You can do a 5 to view your IFS and see your IFS directories and files and restore certain files from IFS. And you just take option 10 at the top to select what you want to restore. So this makes everything available online for you to go ahead and restore from. So here are the objects in that library. You can do a 5 to view the members of those objects, or you can just take a 10 on whichever objects you want to restore. Press enter. This takes you to restore object LV, and it'll restore those objects, and you can restore those to a different library if you want, other than the library it was saved from. So that makes it really simple to go in and retrieve your backups. Some of the other parameters is you can look at the label, which would be the name of the library you want to look at. So if you put in the name of the library, and you can use a wildcard for this, and it'll show you all the saves of that library, and you can select which one you want to restore. So this makes everything online. You don't have to get up and go get a tape. You don't have to call Iron Mountain to get your tape, get it from the vault, etc. You just go here and search for what you want to restore, and you're able to select it and restore it instantly. Okay, so let's go back. This is a great testimonial from one of our customers regarding LaserVault backup. So getting data to their DR site without having to transport tapes. So they greatly improved their backup, disaster recovery process, and they're actually using a combination of tape and disk to disk. So this gives you, if you do need to save to tape, you can certainly do that because you could still have your tape device as well as your disk to disk. But this gives you the capability of being able to replicate and have 2 copies or more. You could actually have 3 copies: tape, disk to disk local, and a replication to cloud or disaster recovery site. Using LaserVault backup instead of tape, we're going to replace labor-intensive process of using tape, transporting tapes. Easy deployment. This is a super easy deployment. There's no IPL of the iSeries environment, so there's no downtime there. We're simply going to install the software on a VM or a server, point that to your disk storage for your backups, set up the library on the iSeries and the backup commands and the TCP/IP addresses. So we're going to get the automated backups processes running, and then you're going to have a reliable, easy to manage, cost-efficient protection of your mission-critical system data. So all that stuff is what you can achieve with LaserVault backup or our VTL solution or our tape device emulation version, our LaserVault Vital product. Also, if you want to incorporate a current, existing, or you might be looking at a deduplication appliance, this one is an example of using Exagrid, but we also work with Cohesity, Rubrik, Commvault, Quantum, NetApp, and many, many others. So if you have an existing backup appliance that it does deduplication and replication, you can set up LaserVault to save to those appliances. And our VTL solution works the same way. We have a lot of customers using those backup dedupe appliances, and they're saving their iSeries data directly to those using LaserVault VTL solution. Now this product can do a save sys. This is like, I believe, option 22 or 23 on the Go Save menu. So it can do a save sys, and it can save that to LaserVault. To IPL from that save sys, you would have a DVD created with those files and use that to bare metal restore an iSeries system with your OS. Once you have TCP/IP up and running, after installing the OS from the DVDs, then you're able to connect to LaserVault and restore your user data and everything else. So that is available with LaserVault to actually create. And you can store multiple save sys files or iterations of your save sys if you're doing, quarterly, monthly, whatever. Before or after PTFs, you can have copies of those available to restore and do a demode IPL from that DVD. This is the save sys. There's actually 2 DVDs. One has the OS and licensed internal code. The other DVD has the LaserVault library, QGPL, and QUserSys. Right, so once the save sys is complete, then the images of those for DVD creation are sent to LaserVault and stored. And then you can use LaserVault to export those to 2 DVDs that you can use to IPL your system. Okay, so we've got some handouts available, technical specifications for LaserVault backup, what IBM users say about LaserVault backup, compare virtual tape versus tape, and there's also a sizing questionnaire in the download of documents, the handouts. So you can certainly use that to give us a little information on how many LPARs you're saving, how much data, whether or not you're using BRMS or an existing tape library. So that would give us an idea of which direction and which product to present to you one-on-one. And that would mean that we could go over either the LaserVault backup product that you would use TCP/IP to do your backups, or you would use a VTL solution with BRMS or the IBM Go Save commands. And that is the thing that you cannot do a full system save with this product. You can do a save sys, but you cannot do a full system save because TCP/IP has to be running so that the system has to be active in order for you to do backups with LaserVault Backup. Now, if you use the VTL solution or tape device, you can do full system saves, and you can do demode IPL directly from those virtual tape saves with our LaserVault Vital product. And bonus, you get a $50 Amazon gift card after the demo, whichever product that we go over with you. So check out laservault.com, or you can visit IBM Global Solutions Directory for more information. And this is recorded, so we'll be sending that out to you shortly once it's available. That goes up on YouTube. And we're having a giveaway for a Bose Bluetooth speaker. So that the drawing and the announcement will be made shortly. So we're here to help you with your backup solution, whatever it is that you need, whether you need a virtual tape solution or a TCP/IP solution. There are major differences between the two and different benefits for each. So let me see if there's any questions. Yeah, the 10 ports for the library, same as the stream. Yeah, they are available. So it actually is going to run a job for each of the 10 ports. So there's actually a job running in QBatch that is that is actually running those 10 jobs for backing up across those 10 data streams or those 10 ports. So if we look at, so 11 plus ports. So 11 plus ports would mean that we have additional ports for additional retentions. So if we say we're going to do an all user backup from a partition, and we're going to use 10 ports, which is the max, we might set up and we might set a retention on those 10 ports, say for 7 days for your dailies. Then we'll set up another 10 ports. They'll be the same, but the retention will be different on those for the weekly backups. So that would mean that we would set up another 10 ports and set a different retention on those saves. How does it compare to DSI? I'm not really sure. DSI uses iSCSI. I know that you cannot do a demode IPL from the DSI iSCSI solution. I don't know that you can do a full system save with that or not, but we are coming out with an iSCSI solution ourselves to emulate tape across iSCSI, similar to the DSI solution. So our current two products, LaserVault Backup through TCP/IP, not iSCSI, and our tape emulation solution. Now that would be something like DSI, because DSI does have a fiber channel. I believe they have a SAS version as well for doing tape emulation. And I know for sure you can do full system saves and demode IPL from that device. How many systems can connect the backup at one time? As many as you've got. We have customers with multiple partitions. We have some a couple of big data centers. They have a lot of small partitions, and they have, I believe, there's probably one of them has like 30 plus partitions. So yeah, there's no limit on the number of that. You can go up to 999 ports. That's the maximum number of ports that you can configure on LaserVault. So that could be, multiple systems. 130 partitions on 4 servers using VIOS. Well, VIOS is not part of this, so that wouldn't come into play. I say it would depend on the size of those partitions, because if they're large partitions, you probably wouldn't want to use the TCP/IP version. If they're smaller partitions, you have 999 ports, so that would be at least 5. That would be about 5 ports per partition, I believe. Some, you don't have to use 5 ports on partitions, but for each partition, it just depends on the amount of data. It would definitely work for this. So you might look at, although you might look at like a 10 gig connection in LaserVault for more TCP/IP speed in the on the LaserVault side, to where you could actually ingest that data across a higher speed network connection. Um, that'd be the only thing that you might look at. But if you're looking to use this with BIOS, then you'd want to look at our virtual tape library, which has NPIV. You can actually define 15 tape devices per 16 or 32 gig fiber channel port on LaserVault, our Vital product. So you might definitely talk to us about that and see where, which solution might be best for handling those particular backups. Our VTL solution, it goes to LTO 5. We're getting ready to go to LTO 8. Currently it's LTO 5. Now the thing to note about that is there's no storage limit on the tapes. Our tapes don't have a storage limit, and there's nothing to do with speed either. So whether we're LTO 5 or LTO 9, there's no difference in that emulation in terms of our product, because we don't have a storage limit on our LTO versions, and we won't on our LTO 8 version. That'll be coming out soon. Probably by the end of next month, we'll have LTO 8 emulation, but customers won't notice the difference between 5 and 8. It's really some of the internal stuff will be different, but nobody will notice the difference. 24/7, yeah, we have 24/7 support. So if you have an emergency after hours or holiday, we have a phone number for that for you to call in that will give you support 24/7. All right, some great questions there. So yeah, you folks that are using BRMS, yeah, definitely talk to us, because we'll show you our Vital solution, and it works perfectly with BRMS. And if you've taken a look at DSI, you probably want to go ahead and take a look at us too, so you get a comparison between the two products, depending on how you're connecting the DSI solution. I mean, our iSCSI version will be available later this year. And really, I think the main drive with that solution is so that we're going to work with Microsoft Azure and having LaserVault in the cloud with iSeries, because they don't allow fiber channel. Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for your time. Appreciate it. And don't forget the handouts and the sizing questionnaire. If you get a chance to fill that out and send it to us, we can certainly help you out in determining which backup solution would best fit your iSeries environment. Thanks everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. Oh, wait, I had one more question. Hold on. Oh, no, didn't. I'm sorry. Make sure. Yep. Okay, good to go. Thanks everybody. Have a great day.